An elder, he's passed on now, said they were there for us when we needed help. We have to be there for them now. As Indigenous people, that's who we are. You can't separate us from the caribou. You know, you can't separate us from the land. We're part and parcel of the same thing. We're part of this system. Our connection to the caribou as the Danizo people, the Indigenous people of this area, has been one from as far back as our stories go on that. They were what they call a convenient food. The elders tell us that before it was a sea of caribou around here. We could always go to the mountains and get a caribou. The caribou were a pretty vital piece of our culture. We didn't just harvest the caribou. As we went up there, the rock likened that the caribou eat is a medicinal plant. So when the caribou were up there, we would gather that for medicine. Our elders started to notice that the caribou were diminishing, disappearing, around just after the time that they fled the Williston Reservoir and built the W.A.C. Bennett Dam. The Mobley herd, the herd that we're working on right now, is the herd that's located closest to our community. Their habitat is around our Twin Sisters Mountains, which are a spiritually protected area for the Danizo people here. In the mid-90s, there was 190 of them, and now they're down to less than, I believe there's less than 20 of them in this herd.
Across the South Peace region, it's an area that I would consider a cumulative impacts hotspot. I can think of no other region in British Columbia where we have so many industries working over such a small land base. Through the 70s and 80s and 90s, we had forestry. Forestry obviously mostly at lower elevations. Through the 80s and 90s, we've seen considerable amount of development of coal deposits. We've seen an increase in oil and gas development, and that includes things such as well sites, seismic lines, road access to well sites. Looking to the future, one of the concerns is the potential for wind development. Rapid increase in these industrial developments of all forms has a number of different impacts on caribou. Logging and oil and gas development creates early successional forest, which again supports moose and deer and ultimately wolves. Also the potential that linear features associated with logging, such as roads, but more probably associated with oil and gas development. These linear features can be used as sort of highways, so they can access more area, giving them greater opportunity to actively seek out or potentially stumble upon caribou. So we've sort of changed the way in which wolves can move across landscapes. Seeing this rapid decline was, I think, a shock for everyone that's been monitoring these caribou. And so now we're trying some very controversial, some very expensive, some very invasive techniques to try to arrest those declines, namely wolf control. We're trying maternal penning with the Mobley herd to try to give those calves a little bit of a bump up in survival. And the idea there is, again, a very simple one. We will collect up some of the pregnant females, we'll place them in a large enclosure. Females will be allowed to have their calves. And we hope by letting the calves grow for a month or 6 weeks that they will have reached sort of a level of fitness or robustness in which they'll be more able to escape from predators.
The penning project itself is a big operation. Currently on site here today, we've got 25 people. We've got 4 helicopters. We've got 7 or 8 sleds. We do a pre-flight before the operation that we have here today. And that pre-flight tells us where all our animals are, what the group's composition is. We then have a capture crew. Transport helicopter flies back to the site here, and they process the animal inside the pen, put a new collar on it, take various measurements, the temperature to make sure the animal's doing well, then the animal's released after that inside the pen.
Today, personally, after the first one went in, and then there was quite a long wait, I was starting to get a little nervous. But the caribou seemed to be healthy when we brought them in. They seemed to be doing good when we released them. The transportations all went smooth. I think overall today's operation was successful. With obviously there was stress on the animal, but I think we got that stress as low as we could possibly do. I think we did really good today. I'm proud of what we did today. We are strengthening the numbers. It's pretty disheartening knowing that what we're doing here and how hard we're trying to keep them alive, and that industry has the potential to still go in and destroy some of their habitat. That I don't like.
The provincial government was able to sell wolf control to a number of organizations that would previously or are opposed to wolf control, as well as the general public, premised on this idea of conservation for caribou. They've also stated that ongoing with wolf control is habitat protections. But if you look a little bit below the surface, you also understand that habitat change, industrial development is still happening.
The worry that BC is going to just do the wolf call and nothing else is a huge worry for us. Big concern. They do not want to stop development or slow development down. Because once the caribou are gone, what's next? Right? Where does it stop? Right? Are we going to lose the moose? We've already got issues with the bison up here, the mountain goat, all the fish. Where do we stop? Our fear is the dinosaurs are kind of going the way of the caribou. We need habitat. We need critical habitat here. And the pace of development in northeastern BC is unprecedented.
We know that there's things they can do. We know that we can maintain more habitat or disturb less habitat, and that certainly needs to be a priority if we're serious about keeping caribou around in British Columbia and in some places right across Canada.
They were here longer than we were, and this was their land before it was ours, so where caribou used to roam, it would be nice to be able to take my kids up there and say, look, there's caribou, back where they always were, back where they naturally came from.
We've interfered so much with them that to just walk away and say, well, that's just the way it is, these caribou are going to die off. That's not right, We have to do everything we can to try and fix the wrong that's been done here.